Noon. Today is May 16th at approximately about 1:59, 2 p.m. today. And I want to make this because, for 25 years now, I've been investigating the illegal spying, tracking, and torturing with satellite weapons. And I remember at first nobody believed me. They called me crazy. Even the United States Department of Veterans Affairs still call me crazy because I'm complaining about this, about direct energy weapons, microwave energy weapons, when we know for a fact it's going on. So I wanted to make this video because I want you to be aware that I have tried, I've attempted to bring a case to stop all this back in 2000. May 12th of 2000, the United States Federal Courts for the San Antonio Division. I tried to stop all this. So and it's not fair. Whoever is spying on me, whoever is tracking me and torturing me deserves to be heard. Deserves to be summoned to court to testify, because it's a crime what they're doing behind this magic curtain of illegal spying and tracking, using me as a scapegoat to attack and gather information on other Americans. When I tried to stop this back on May 12, 2000 with a federal lawsuit in the Western District of Texas in San Antonio. So for several years now, I've gone to federal officials who are supposed to be representing me, and they have been somewhat denied the right to investigate civil rights, and it's a crime. The Constitution says that it is a crime for depriving someone to investigate a civil rights act or civil rights claim. And I've been illegally eavesdropped and wiretapped since 1994, while serving during the Gulf War, and it continues on as an act of espionage, as an act of illegal eavesdropping and wiretapping, and they are torturing me as an act of domestic terrorism and as an act of treason. And it doesn't stop. And I've been to several courts, federal courts. I filed several lawsuits, and it doesn't stop. But let's talk about the Constitution in just a minute here, because the Constitution says here, it says all this is the 14th Amendment. The 14th Amendment says that all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. It says, no state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States, nor shall any state deprive any person. I'm going to say it again. Nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of a law, nor deny to any person within this jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws. So you see, what we have here is I've been illegally spied on, and I've gone to courts to stop all this, and what do? They repay me with the bribery. It's bribery to compensate me 100% and call me crazy and take away my right to security, to protection, and you're exposing me to the enemy and to the society and to the government without my consent. Okay? And I can't hold court and I can't attend court because you're not allowing me to practice my 14th Amendment rights. Let's talk about the First Amendment. The First Amendment says here, it says, the First Amendment of the United States Constitution protects the right to freedom of religion, the freedom of expression from government interference. It prohibits any laws that establish a national religion, impede the free exercise of religion, abridge the freedom of speech, infringe upon the freedom of the press, interfere with the right to peacefully assemble, or prohibit citizens from petitioning for the governmental redress of grievances. Okay? It prohibits any laws that interfere with the right to peacefully assemble or prohibit citizens from petitioning for governmental redress and grievances. Okay? Redress and grievances. What is redress and grievances, folks? Redress for grievances is something almost like a tort. If you're being injured by the government or government agencies, you have the right to petition for grievances. And, and for people that don't know what grievances is, let me express that to you, because grievances is basically a real or imagined wrong or other cause for complaint or protest especially unfair treatment. Okay? Here I am for 25 years now, mentally incarcerated, broadcasting my thoughts to society, to the enemy, to the government for 25 years. You don't think that's unfair? You don't think that's unconstitutional? Without my consent? Or without a federal court order? To spy on me, track, and torture me? Where's the federal court order for 25 years? Where is the court order to spy on me? Is what my question is. Okay? I want to talk about some questions that I have for the government, especially the federal officials, congressmen and senators, federal judges, federal law enforcement. I got some questions for you. Okay? Because I can't get into the courtroom. So let's address it now. Okay? Who did the Department of Defense negotiate a contract to spy on me? Who did the Department of Defense, which regulates all armed forces, the military, Navy, Coast Guard, Marines, who did the Department of Defense negotiate a contract with to spy on me? Can you disclose that, please? Because, I can't get into court, so will you answer those questions as a set of interrogatories? If you're going to court and you file a lawsuit and you discover, and you go into discovery, these are questions you're going to be asked in the court of law. Who did the Department of Defense negotiate a contract with to spy on me while I was in the military? And if so, why? Why, if I was over the age of 18, to make a contract agreement by myself? Why didn't you ask me to illegally spy on me? Why? Why was I the only one chosen for this experiment while in the Marines, while enlisted in the Marine Corps? Why was I the only one chosen for this experiment? Who gave the Department of Defense the authority to spy on me during my military career in the United States Marines from 1993 until this present date? Can you answer those questions for me? Who gave the United States Department of the Navy the authority to spy on me while serving the United States Navy or while serving the United States Marine Corps during the Gulf War from 1993 to 1998 when I was honorably discharged? Who gave the United States Department of the Navy the authority or the consent to spy on me while serving the United States Marines during the Gulf War? Where is the federal court order? Where is the federal court order to spy on me while serving the United States Marines from 1993 until 1998 when I was honorably discharged? Why was I the only one segregated from the other Marines to spy on? Why was I the only one segregated from other Marines to spy on? How long have the United States federal government collected information illegally from my mind since 1993 while serving the United States Marines until this present time? How long has the United States federal government collected information illegally from my mind since 1993 while serving the United States Marines until this present time? Why was I the chosen one to be spied on and tracked and tortured with satellite weapons and electronic harassment program? Is there a House bill such as H.R. 2977, Space Preservation Act, that gave the power of Congress to illegally spy on me? And if it was, what is the House bill? Is there investors who invested their money into the spying game is there investors who invested their money on a spying game on me? On the spying devices and gadgets used on me? Are there investors such as Google, Facebook, Twitter, that are investing their money in this illegally spying game? List and name those investors and stock amounts. Please list and explain the blueprints and spying devices used to explain my thoughts and thinking patterns on how that is intercepted. How are my thoughts intercepted? Are you using satellite and satellite weapons to stalk and attack me? Are you using any kind of electronic harassment program or software to stalk, track, or assault me to manipulate my mind or my mind behavior? Are you using any tracking devices such as GPS satellites or satellite weapons, including drones or air reconnaissance aircraft, to track me? Or have you used my neighbors by training them or giving them software access to electronic harassment programs or satellite weapons to attack me? Have or are you allowing private sector or corporations to enjoin With you such as Google, Facebook, Twitter, Sprint, T-Mobile, or any other organization to spy on me? And if so, list the names in those corporations. Okay, so, I have the right to due process of the law, and for 25 years I've been denied access to the court systems. I've been neglected by some of the federal officials. For what, I don't know. Maybe they're not denied. They're not cutting through the red tape for some reason, because maybe they've invested in the spying and tracking of Americans and won't disclose it. But I have the right. I have the right just like every American. For 25 years now, I've been mentally incarcerated, falsely imprisoned, broadcasting my thoughts to the enemy, to society, and to the government without my consent, without a federal court order, violating my Fourth Amendment right. Fourth Amendment right? What is the Fourth Amendment right? Let's talk about the Fourth Amendment right here. Everybody has that right. What does the Fourth Amendment right say? The Fourth Amendment says, and I'm going to read them verbatimly here from the Constitution, okay? Because I think it's only fair that you understand what that is. The Fourth Amendment says, the Fourth Amendment originally enforced the notion that each man's home is his castle, secure from unreasonable search and seizures of the property by the government. Each man's home is his own castle. My mind is my own castle. It's my mind. And when you have illegally wiretapped me or illegally spying on me without my consent, without a federal court order, without due process of a law, you're violating my Fourth Amendment right. And Fourth Amendment says, it says the Fourth Amendment originally enforced the notion that each man's home is his own castle, secure from unreasonable search and seizures of property by the government. It protects against arbitrary arrest, and it is the basis of law regarding search warrants, stop and frisk, safety inspections, wiretaps, and other forms of surveillance. So when you're spying on me, reading my mind, you're violating my Fourth Amendment right. Okay? You're collecting all this data, but it's no good. It's what is called fruit from the poisonous tree. While you're putting this magic curtain behind me, calling me immunity from I would like to know what organization I work for. Do I work for the U.S. Marines, the Navy, the CIA, the NSA, the DEA? Which agency do I work for? Can you please disclose that so I know my duties and my missions? Okay? Because I would like to know what kind of immunity I have from all this. It's only fair. And it's sad that, you pay somebody, you bribe somebody to commit a crime. That is against the law, no matter who you did. That you created, that you drafted an illegal contract, bribe somebody to keep a crime quiet is illegal. And then you go and spy on me for 25 fucking years. Wouldn't you be pissed off, Mr. CIA agent or Mr. FBI agent? What would you do, Mr. FBI agent, Mr. CIA agent, if I implanted one of your children without your consent or your child's consent and I spied on him? What actions would you take as a federal official, as an FBI agent, as a CIA agent? What would you do to get justice? What would you do? I'm being sincere. Answer this question. Those are questions that need to be answered. Whether you like it or not, you're going to have to face reality. So, for 25 years now, man, I'm just in prison, man, and mentally incarcerated, not able to speak my mind without being tortured and zapped, doing things that a normal person would do, speaking their mind, and that's what they want to do to everybody. They want to implant and track everybody. And if they don't, they're going to continue to create natural disasters with HAARP like they're doing now for 25 years, man. I've been observing all this, collecting information. I didn't make this stuff up. This stuff was on the web. It's on the web. It's for you to research, for you to investigate, and for you to bring up to the people who represent you. I didn't make this stuff up. I didn't sit down and write all this stuff. I collected evidence to present to federal officials who are supposed to be protecting the American Constitution, who are supposed to be protecting me and you. See? So, I mean, I'm not the one that drafted all this stuff. And this is all research for 25 years, man. And I'm just giving you the tools to help you analyze what you are going through. What you're going through, or maybe your family or family members are going through. That's all I'm doing. I'm giving you the tools. It's up to you to collect the evidence and present that in a court of law. But how do you present evidence in a court of law if the court of law and the federal judges are not allowing people in the courts to present the argument? And I want to talk about one thing here. There's a big case that I want to talk about. And it's called Hale versus the FCC. I mean, I talked about it many times, but it needs to be heard here. Hale versus the FCC. Hale versus the Federal Communications Commission. Case number 15-CV-218-JED-FHM. This case is involving Jana, Jana, Marie Hale, Hale, as the plaintiff versus the Federal Communication Commission, ETAL, as defendants. It took place in the United States District Court of Oklahoma on June 22nd, 2017. Who was presiding? Judge John E. Dowdell, Dowdell, District Judge. Before the court is the plaintiff complaint. Plaintiff proceeding pro se filed this action on April 27, 2015, seeking damages and injunctive relief for the reason discussed herein as a plaintiff's complaint. Here is the background of the case. I'm going to read it verbatimly. The complaint lists as defendants the Federal Communication Commission, Broadcasting Satellite Service, and Scatter Frequency Allocation Investigation Report. In sum, although the complaint is lengthy and difficult to decipher, plaintiff appears to allege that she has been a victim of electronic harassment in the form of satellite frequencies being received by and emitted from her body. The plaintiff asserts that the emissions have released harmful chemical substance in her body and have caused her health issues. The complaint refers to two unidentified doctors who determined that plaintiff had abnormal blood count and her normal blood count reading. Okay, so you see, I'm not the only one complaining about this. This is happening all over the world. It's happening in different federal courts. The judges are conspiring to not hear these cases because of two things are happening. Either one, you've invested your money as a federal judge into the conspiracy, into the crime itself, into the technology itself, and you don't want to shut it down because you may lose your money. And two, you have a family member who works for the FBI, who works for the CIA, who works for the NSA, who works for the intelligence agency, and you want to cover their asses. Bottom line. Okay? That's the only way I see out of that. But at some point in time, as a federal judge, you're going to have to make a decision on this. Because not only is it affecting Americans, it's affecting the CIA, it's affecting federal officials at the White House. At some point in time, you're going to have to make a decision. Another case I want to talk about. I want to talk about Torgerman versus the FBI. Torgerman versus the FBI. Torgerman versus the FBI. Torgerman is spelled Torjman versus the Federal Bureau of Investigations, ETAL number 1:2010CV01211 documented. And I'm going to read the memorandum here. In the United States District Court for the District of Columbia, Morelli Torgerman, Mirille, Torgerman, Torjman, the plaintiff versus the Federal Bureau of Investigation, ETAL, as a defendant. Civil action number is going to be 10-1211, quotation, JDB, close quotation. Memorandum opinion. This matter is before the court on its initial review of the plaintiff's pro se complaint. Okay? And it says here, It says, Torgerman alleges that the United States government is using various forms of mind control on her, including synthetic telepathy, psychotronics, and other forms of surveillance, and seeks unspecific damages and injunctive relief against several federal agencies. Okay? So, I mean, it's obviously the components they are using to attack Americans is coercion to act other than normal. Psychiatrists are not recognizing this right now, and you're going to have to. Sooner or later, you're going to have to recognize this because it's happening now. It's happening to the CIA. It happened to Mark Polymermopoulos. Look him up on YouTube. And it's happening to other federal officials. And at some point in time, you're going to have to create ICD-9 codes, CPT codes to diagnosis. Because it is domestic terrorism. It's an invisible crime of microwave energy weapons, coercing us to act other than normal. And for 25 years now, I've been trying to bring this to the attention of the American people, to federal officials. But you call me delusional. You call me, some kind of delusional insane that I'm not broadcasting my thoughts and I'm not broadcasting this and they're not torturing me. I mean, that's delusional. It's fraud, folks. It's fraud. And that's what the CIA tried to do with Mark Polymermopoulos. On Rachel Maddow MSNBC versus Mark Polymermopoulos, she interviewed him. He said that he tried to tell the CIA this. And they brushed him off. And they called him crazy. And they retired Mark Polymermopoulos. They retired him. When is it going to stop? If other Americans and veterans go to the VA and say, hey, I'm being attacked by satellite weapons, are you going to call them delusional? Are you going to call them crazy and retire them at 100%? It just doesn't make sense, folks. It doesn't make sense. But at some point in time, it's going to have to stop because it's fraud. I don't care how you look at it. It's fraud. It's terrorism. It's torture. It's treason. And I have to wear this. This virus right here is not a virus. It's not a virus. You know what it is? It's a satellite weapon. COVID-19 is the name of a satellite weapon. Why else would you name COVID-19? That is an acronym for other satellites that they've launched in space. And that was going to be launched in space to attack more Americans with microwave energy weapons. Because this weapon that they're using does deplete your breathing. It suffocates your cells in your lungs. It suffocates you. It causes you to choke in your sleep. To choke, period. Causes skin lacerations, causes heart attacks, blind vision, headaches, aneurysms, broken bones, inflammation, eruption of blood cells, white blood cell counts, loss of hearing, skin laceration of the lungs, skin laceration of the throat. You lay down. That satellite's so precise, it'll attack your lungs and it'll scratch your lungs and it'll kill you. It'll cause an infection. You go to the doctor and they wrongfully diagnose you. They give you the wrong medication. They give you a steroid instead of giving you an antibiotic. Those things you have to pay attention to, folks, because it's very critical. Very critical. For 25 years now, I've been trying to stop all this. Did I contribute to this? Hell no, I didn't contribute to this. They've illegally spied on me without my consent. I'm broadcasting my thoughts, and they're tracking me and torturing me. For 25 years now, why? Why are we here? Who made me? Why did you make me? Why are you spying on me? I would like to sit down and talk to that gentleman or that corporation. I have the right. Every American does. You have the right to file a petition for grievances and redress. You have that right. The First Amendment says it does. It says that you do. The 14th Amendment says you have the right to due process of a law. But for 25 years now, I've been deprived the right to due process of a law, the right to file a petition, the right to be heard. And that's sad. Because I may not be able to do that, but at some point in time, you're going to have to serve somebody. You're going to have to allow that to happen. You can't hide behind the paper trail anymore. It's all out there. 6 crime bills, H.R. 2977, Space Preservation Act of 2001, written by Congressman Dennis Kucinich from Ohio. in 2001. October 2nd, 2001. What did Mr. Kucinich know in 2001 that we know today that is happening to the CIA and other Americans? What did he know? Why wasn't he investigating? Why wasn't he testifying of how he got his information and why he wrote the bill? Doesn't make sense, folks. 2001 to 2021. 20 years have gone by. Americans are now waking up. They're challenging their agencies. Hey, man, I work for the CIA. I've been tortured in Russia and I'm tortured down here. Federal officials at the White House are saying they're attacked by microwave energy weapons. 21 years, man. 20 years of ignoring the crime bills. 6 crime bills have been written during that time, warning the government to pass it. If you pass the crime bill, Americans will divulge the terrorist. You're giving the American people the power to turn these fuckers in. I'm going to close because, I made this video because I've been deprived the right to due process. I can't get into the courts, and those questions have to be answered. Why? Why did you spy on me? Why did you make me? What for? What was the reason? What was my job? What was my duties? What was I supposed to do? Okay. I'm going to end it because I think the reason why we're having such turmoil here is because God, Lord Savior Jesus Christ, it says here, Isaiah 55:8. Isaiah 55:8. It says here in the Bible. It says here in the Bible, and I'm going to read it verbatim. Isaiah 55:8. Turn your Bibles to that page. Isaiah 55:8 says, in some things there may be a likeness between the thoughts of God and the thoughts of men, as to the nature of them. Okay? And he says here, he calls it out here. He says, for my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, declares the Lord. And so basically, you can't go and change a person from thinking what he's thinking. God never wanted that. In the scriptures, it talks about it. For my thoughts are not your thoughts. I don't want to be like you. I don't need to be like you. I want to be myself. I want to do things myself. And that's what this country is about. It's about freedom. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, declares the Lord. And that's why we are having so much turmoil, because the government is trying to change the ways of the American people by targeting them, tracking and torturing. So if you go and clean up the streets with your technology, clean up the streets, you can go ahead and shut down the courtrooms, get rid of the police officers, get rid of the lawyers. What do you have? Technology. How good is it? It's not like I can't go buy a satellite at the gun store and say, hey, give me a satellite weapon, please. Let me put this fucking rocket in the back of my yard and launch that fucker to space so I can go and attack my neighbor or attack the FBI or attack the CIA. I can't do that. But you're attacking me with unequal force, with deadly force. I'm not attacking you. I'm not torturing you with these weapons. You are trespassing my life with these weapons, with deadly weapons, and using deadly force against me. Coerce me to act. How do you want the American people to defend ourselves from that? Can you answer that? How? How do you want the American people to defend ourselves from a weapon that's invisible, that's unconstitutional, that's an act of treason, domestic terrorism, and torture? How do you want Americans to do that? What should we do? Should we call the local law enforcement? Have them tell us we're crazy, be confined in a mental institution? That's false imprisonment. When I have here federal experts who are saying, yeah, we're being tortured. It's false imprisonment. Wrongful diagnosis. You know? So think about that. I have the right, just like you do. You have the right to file a lawsuit. When we stop doing that, when we stop giving the people the right to file a lawsuit and to be heard at court of law, we're in some trouble. Because that's what the court's about. The court is about solving and stopping a conspiracy, stopping crimes. And in 2000, May 12, 2000, I tried to stop all this. 21 fucking years later, man, here we are. Depriving me of my fucking civil rights and liberties, my freedom. 25 years now. Why? Thank you and God bless.